I'm really excited for him. It's really hard not to say something like that.
I think all the excitement about Matthew Golden is justified. I do want to rewind to approximately almost exactly a year ago when the Packers signed Braden Narvison, and you declared the Packers got their kicker. So saying you try
hold on, why'd you need to do that?
Saying you try not to overreact, you are our king of overreactions here.
Yeah, but I think I've learned my lesson. and also, by the way, that one seemed so minimal because it was a kicker.
It was, but the way, I honestly think that was probably near the start of when I started talking more on this program.
Yes, it was.
Because you were so confident.
Nobody was holding me accountable, so that's when you joined.
Yeah.
Braden Narvison, by the way, doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
A year later.
He's not even in the UFL or XFL, whatever.
He was in the CFL for a moment. He played for the Edmonton Elks. But was released after 3 days earlier this year, and he has not had a job since. May 31st, he was released by the Edmonton Elks. So yeah, I think ultimately, yeah, maybe I'll be wrong, but this one feels a little bit more locky than
the first
Braden
round
Narvison.
Pick,
yeah.
Yes, the first round pick who's been one of the few guys to consistently stay healthy in that room. And I think it's much more than that. I think his talent is inevitable. I think, honestly, the way the offseason has gone with the injuries has been beneficial to Matt LaFleur, the coaching staff, and the front office, for them all to look around and say, I don't care that this is a rookie. He's going to make some mistakes. He needs to be on the field, and he needs to be a focal point of the offense, because I was worried they were going to do the put him in a rotation thing, put him out there for a few snaps, have packages for him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the
I
case
think
here.
It's full go. I think he's part of 2 wide receiver lineups. Not all of them, but I think it's going to be him and Dobbs to start the season. And I think he's going to perform in a way where they just look around and say, this guy we can't take off the field.
Yeah.
There's too much here. There's too much production, too much explosiveness, too much talent for us to be worried about how many snaps Romeo Dobbs or Dontavian Wicks are going to get.
Yeah, the proof was in the pudding on one catch.
Yeah, especially in a room where drops have been your problem for the past however many years. And granted, it's one play, but to see him come off of his defender like that and make a play on an underthrown ball.
Yeah, you had 2 guys on your roster last year that were top 10 in the league in drops, in Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. And again,
also, he's shown veteran traits. When was the last time you remember a Packers wide receiver adjusting to a ball like that, coming back to it and making a play? It feels like Devontae Adams style.
Yeah, he'd be the last one.
Also, in joint practices when he roasted that defensive back.
Yeah, and he's like a 6th-string guy. He's not going to make the Seahawks roster, but he was cooking him.
Right, but what he did was he did that little push-off that Jordy was so famous for, of once you realize the ball is coming your way, you do it so early in the route that it just gives you enough to, even if the guy is close to you, you have the advantage there. There's more here in a more polished wide receiver than I think people realize, because they're used to Packers bringing along rookies slowly.
Yep. And that just can't be the case with him. He's a different story. And I think it was Will and I talking about it last week. So many years in a row, the first-round pick hasn't made an impact. It just hasn't really been the case. Quay Walker had a little bit of an opportunity a couple years ago when he was drafted. Darnell Savage had a little bit of an opportunity, but the last rookie that really made an everyday impact from week 1 felt like it was Jair Alexander. And that's the best first-round pick that Brian Gutekunst has had, his first-round pick in his tenure as a general manager. But it looks like Matthew Golden will have the opportunity and completely looks the part. So really impressive catch by him on Saturday, a good preseason for him, and a natural transition for us to get into Stock Up, Stock Down, which we do each and every day after Packers games, the weekend or the weekday after Packers games, I guess, would in this case. So let's play a little Stock Up, Stock Down. This is not just for Saturday. This is the entirety of the preseason as we get ready for Cutdown Day tomorrow for the Green Bay Packers and begin to look ahead to the regular season, which starts 13 days from today at Lambeau Field against the Detroit Lions. The first stock up this preseason goes to Matthew Golden, the first-round pick. Boy, oh boy, does he look the part of a wide receiver 1. And just about every day at training camp, you were seeing Matthew Golden highlights, joint practices, as Josh just alluded to. he's burning defensive backs. And then Saturday in the finale against Seattle, he makes an incredible adjustment on an underthrown ball for a 39-yard reception. All we needed to see. The guy looks the part. He's going to be a huge part of the Packers' offensive game plan this season. And I really do believe the sky is the limit for number 22 here for the Green Bay Packers, both in 2025 and obviously going forward. So first stock up goes to Matthew Golden. Let's move to stock down and stay in that wide receiver room. It's Mecole Hardman. I do not believe he'll make the roster. I just don't think you can make the justification for keeping him around outside of returning, which may start the season with him on the roster, depending on what they do with Jaden Reed, who's dealing with that foot injury. But a fumble in the first preseason game didn't really make an impact in the receiving game at all this preseason. I don't think you can justify keeping him over a guy like Malik Heath, who I know the Packers like a lot. I think the odds are they keep 6 receivers. I don't think they keep 7. If they would, it's likely Mecole Hardman, but I saw nothing in the preseason that made me go, yeah, they got to keep him. So, stock down, although the stock was not very high to begin the preseason. The stock is down on Mecole Hardman because he was a guy, I think, at the beginning of training camp, Joshy, I started to advocate for, okay, maybe I could see it. And then he fumbles in the preseason opener and then just didn't really do anything all that impressive. He didn't have a big return at any point throughout the preseason. The math is not mathing in my head as to why they would keep him around come week 1.
Yeah, and he's been a guy that, I mean, he was on the Jets. They released him. He went back to the Chiefs. He seems to be, he's one of those guys to me who burns fast through the NFL because his speed was really what kept him out there. And once you start to lose a step and make mistakes, there's really just no reason to have you out there. I thought it was an option of, hey, this is a guy we need to be a deep threat, and he can sort of fill, not to the same quality, but fill a role like Christian Watson's. And I think they're going to find that with Matthew Golden. So Matthew Golden's emergence, I think, makes him even more cuttable, releasable.
Releasable. I like that. Mm-hmm. You may have made that word up, but
yeah, it works.
Second stock up. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. How about Tyron Hopper, the mid-round pick, the third-round pick last year out of Missouri? He's a linebacker who didn't see a ton of time last year. He had some pops on special teams where you go, okay, there might be something there with Tyron Hopper. But I thought from a linebacker perspective, he had a really good preseason. 13 total tackles, 6 of those solos. He had 1 sack. He had a forced fumble throughout the 3-game preseason. Thought he was flying around the field more. All in all, I thought he was very good this preseason. He was never in risk of losing his roster spot, but he's a guy where I think the expectation was naturally, okay, he'll be a depth linebacker and a special teams player. While that's likely still the case, I think you saw enough encouraging signs where if he's to rotate in at that linebacker spot, you feel really good about him. And when you make an offseason signing of Isaiah Simmons, who led the team in tackles on Saturday, it was like, okay, then maybe Tyron Hopper falls down the depth chart a little bit. Again, they were never going to release him because he's a mid-round pick from last year. He's only in his second year. That's a guy you're going to justify keeping every day of the week. But I think he showed enough signs in the preseason where you go, okay, actually, you know what? I think we can justify seeing him on the field in 2025. So Tyron Hopper gets a stock up from me. Stock down, we talked about him last week. It's the other third-round pick from last year, Marshawn Lloyd, the running back out of USC. And again, it's not really his fault. But for a preseason where I felt like he was one of the main stories in all 3 preseason games, we want to see what he's got. Can it be a kind of a thunder and lightning combination with him and Josh Jacobs this year? He just continues to get injured. And that sucks for him. It sucks for the Packers who are trying to evaluate how serious and for real he can be as maybe RB2. And they've given him every opportunity to be that. He just can't stay on the field. Going to start the season on injured list. IR, I believe that would be, not PUP, because he participated in the preseason. With that hamstring injury, they're going to keep Chris Brooks. They're likely going to keep our guy Emmanuel Wilson as well. I would imagine both those guys make the roster opening day and tomorrow being Cutdown day. And it's just going to be a wonderful mystery again. When will Marshawn Lloyd be back, and what can he be in the National Football League? So stock down goes to Marshawn Lloyd. Final stock up, at least for this rendition, and then we'll get to anything I missed from Joshy. That big-armed Canadian boy, Taylor Algersma, I think, will make the practice squad. I think the Sean Clifford experience is going to come to an end for the Green Bay Packers. I believe it was a 5th-round pick a couple of years ago. Taylor Algersma is an awesome story, and that's what the preseason's about, right? Typically is awesome stories. The guy played at Laurier College in Canada, was really good there, was a 2nd-round draft pick in the Canadian Football League, but opted to sign with the Green Bay Packers this offseason. Got plenty of run throughout the preseason. We didn't see Jordan Love outside of that first game, obviously, with that thumb injury. Kept keeping him out of games 2 and 3 in the preseason. Saw plenty of Malik Willis. Saw plenty of Sean Clifford, and also saw plenty of Taylor Algersma. He finished his Saturday 6 of 8 for 33 yards and a touchdown, but was sacked twice. But all in all, he's got a massive arm. I mean, he's got a cannon for an arm. I think that's something they'd like to hone and like to see more of on a practice squad and be your emergency third quarterback. So my prediction here is I ultimately think Sean Clifford will be released, Taylor Algersma likely also released but brought back on the practice squad, and they'll roll with him this year as their third quarterback. Could be wrong on that, but that's what I'm feeling after watching the 3 preseason games. Stock goes up for Taylor Algersma. Final stock down for me is the O-line depth, offensive line depth. You like your starting 5, I think, in what I imagine will be Rasheed Walker, Aaron Banks, Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, and Zach Tom. After that, I don't know how much you like, because yesterday the Packers go ahead and make a move. They send a 2027, that is not next year, the following year, 6th-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for 3-time Super Bowl champion offensive lineman Darian Kinnard. Has only played in 3 NFL games, but he's won 3 Super Bowls in his 3 seasons in the league. Spent his first 2 years with the Chiefs and last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's won a Super Bowl every year he's been in the league. Maybe he brings some good juju to the Packers as he is acquired via trade yesterday. Also, his aunt's cousin is Dolly Parton. Just a little fun fact for him that I find entertaining. But he is brought in, which means likely you lose Donovan Jennings or somebody, Kadeem Telfort, one of your depth offensive linemen. They typically keep 10 on cutdown days. He will be one of the 10, given that they acquired him after the preseason ended. But clearly that tells you all you need to know about how the Packers feel about that room right now. And, well, outside of their starting 5, I don't think it's very good. Maybe the top 6 because I think they feel better about Jordan Morgan than maybe they did at the beginning of the preseason. But all in all, you don't love your depth in that room. You saw what happened in the playoffs against the Philadelphia Eagles last year when the depth crumbles and you lose some pieces due to injury. Their offensive line crumbled in that wild card game against Philadelphia. So they bring in Darian Kinnard. This will be his 4th year in the NFL in exchange for a 2027 6th-round pick. So offensive line depth is my final stock down. Those are my stock ups and stock downs coming out of the preseason. The next time we'll do this is after week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Joshy, anything that came to mind that I missed?
I think the guy you sort of, I don't know if you meant to make it sound like a slight, but Jordan Morgan was the Packers' best offensive lineman through the preseason. He probably deserves starting at left tackle, but the way the team has worked its way out and his ability to play multiple positions and the uncertainty around Aaron Banks and Sean Ryan being who he is most likely means Jordan Morgan's going to be playing a guard position, which you can agree with or disagree with. I think the best left tackle on the team is Jordan Morgan, and I think he's going to be the long-term starter there. It's just Aaron Banks back. You have incredible amounts of uncertainty there. And Sean Ryan he's an NFL level player, but he's not a guy you're necessarily making a focal point of your offensive line.
And he's entering a contract year, so this will likely be his final year in Green Bay, unless something changes dramatically over the course of the season. But yeah, Jordan Morgan's interesting to me because, to your point, he probably was their best offensive lineman in the preseason. He also got to play just about as much as anybody else. But I don't think he definitively won the left tackle job. And you just said you think he's the best left tackle. You think he's better than Rasheed Walker.
I do. I think Rasheed Walker is a fine option, fine to good. But the Packers clearly have wanted to upgrade that position, that left tackle spot. Rasheed Walker has been fighting for his life, and he's answered the bell every time.
He's been fighting for his life, but he's answered the bell.
They're trying to replace him.
And it hasn't worked.
Last year, he won the left tackle competition like before camp even really started. But this year, due to his own injuries from Rasheed Walker, I think he's sort of just going to get the position because they need offensive line flexibility and they need bodies.
Yeah.
You can't really take a guy in Rasheed Walker and go, well, who's our best 5? And keep him out of there because he can only play one position. Everyone else can play seemingly all the positions. Him and Banks are really the only ones that don't seem like they're capable of moving. So it seems to be working against Jordan Morgan that he's able to play more than one spot.
And it might not land him in the starting lineup, at least come week 1. And obviously they can make that. They can change their decisions at some point. But I think you're right. They haven't come out and declared a winner for that left tackle battle yet, unless I missed it.
No, they haven't. It just, with the way when you sign a tackle, it kind of makes you figure out what
trade for a tackle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Trade for It's pretty clear for
a team that doesn't give up assets typically.
Yeah.
And again, it's a 6th round pick in 2 years.
Yeah, which is basically nothing.
Regardless, they still gave it up.
Which
indicates Kinnard will make the roster.
Well, they're making calls to find guys so they didn't have to do the clear waivers.
Yep.
All that stuff.
So I think your point is completely correct. They'll treat him as a guard again this season, and this guy will be your depth tackle.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a point where he is starting at left tackle.
Key being Morgan?
Yes. But he needs a couple things to go his way. Jordan Morgan would. But I do think, I mean, let's be honest here. One of them's a 1st-round pick. One of them's a 7th-round pick. One of them has the accolades prior to it. It's just he doesn't have the game started. And I don't fault the Packers for relying on the guy who's done it before and started a bunch of games at the position. But they want Jordan Morgan to be their left tackle for the long term, and it's just seemingly a waiting game for him.
So just a couple quick things on cutdowns, because I think there's a few that intrigue me more than others. McCole Hardman is the name I mentioned before. So what the Packers are likely going to do is, I think they're going to keep 4 tight ends. I think John Fitzpatrick showed versatility enough this preseason to justify keeping a 4th tight end. So that'd be, of course, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, Ben Sims, John Fitzpatrick. But when you keep 4 tight ends, then you got to make an adjustment elsewhere. And I think they ultimately keep 6 receivers to start the season with Christian Watson on IR. Or would he be PUP? I'm so confused by the injury designations.
Christian Watson would be PUP.
Got it. Physically unable to perform because he did not participate in any preseason activities. And if you participated in preseason activities, you're not eligible for the PUP list. Yes? I get that right?
Nailed it.
Got it. So the 6 I think they keep ultimately will be Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams, Malik Heath, with Christian Watson on PUP. So 7 total, but 6 that counts towards your 53. I think that leaves McCole Hardman as the odd man out, and then everybody else, Julian Hicks, Cornelius Johnson, etc. Because I think they keep 4 tight ends. They likely keep 10 offensive linemen, 2 quarterbacks, and 3 running backs to start because Marshawn Lloyd will be on IR. So that brings it to whatever that would be, 23, I think would be the math on that, 24. Defensively, I don't think there's anything like questionable or surprising in terms of cuts.
I could see a situation where Isaiah Simmons doesn't make the team.
I think it's between him and Christian Welch.
But it looks like they really like him on special teams. Yeah. He's their gunner or flyer. And he's been good there. He's looked at times completely lost.
He sure has. Yeah, defensively he has, yeah.
But Tyron Hopper makes it so even though Christian Welch might be a better linebacker, having a 3rd guy there you feel good about starting. Also, you have Isaiah McDuffie.
Yeah.
One of those guys is frankly a luxury. And if Simmons does that well and can make an impact on special teams, you justify it.
Yeah, I think it's between Isaiah Simmons and Christian Welch. And obviously, I think it goes back to something you just mentioned. First-round picks are always going to get the benefit of the doubt. Christian Welch was not that, despite being a Wisconsin guy. He's from Iola, Scandinavia. So he's kind of he's a hometown kid, and obviously you want to root for him, but he'll land on his feet if he doesn't make the team.
Also, I know we like to say like first-round picks have to, prove they don't belong. Isaiah Simmons has athletic gifts that few people in the NFL have.
Correct.
And few people even less on the Packers have. So I understand why everybody sees positives there. It's just the football playing part isn't his strength right now.
Correct.
But the run really fast and get to that guy at the other end of the field before anyone else, he probably is one of the best at doing that. And the Packers said they wanted to focus on the Rich Bisaccia hiring and give more importance to special teams. So I think that's probably a decision Bisaccia gets to make.
Bill on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat. So this dates back to our watch along. I believe it was the San Francisco Green Bay game in the divisional round. Bill has been hooked on me and Emmanuel Wilson since that day.
Yeah, I mean, that was, you were screaming is fair too.
I was yelling, yeah.
Yeah, you were screaming about him getting touches. I think at that point, he was on and off the active roster. He wasn't as much of a part of the offense as he is now. But if we remember back then, he was replacing A.J. Dillon.
Yep. Which, in retrospect, good choice.
Yeah, and I believe the past 2 seasons, he's averaged nearly 5 yards a carry, even when you were anti-Emmanuel Wilson.
I flipped the script on that very fast.
I mean, he became, it was game 2.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that right now before I read Bill's comment. I like Emmanuel Wilson. I want him to make the roster.
I actually think he's behind Chris Brooks.
I am the world's largest Chris Brooks fan, maybe, so I'd be okay with that.
That makes one of you.
Bill chimes in, well, our boy Strouf, Emmanuel Wilson has to make this team. Had a great showing and should be RB2. Here's the thing. I don't think there's really going to be a definitive RB2. That's what they wanted Marshawn Lloyd to become, but he can't stay healthy.
There would have been had he been healthy.
Correct. But I don't think there will be a definitive one. I think they're going to utilize Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson in different scenarios. They like Brooks' blocking ability more than they like Wilson's. I think Brooks is a better receiving back. I'd make that argument.
I don't have enough evidence to really make a definitive decision either way on the third and fourth.
I'm huge on Chris Brooks because he can also play a little fullback action. So if you go 2-back set, you can throw Chris Brooks in there.
I prefer my offenses not to have fullbacks.
That's fair. But you got to utilize a blocking running back at some point.
That's what Tucker Kraft is for.
That's true. Tucker Kraft could do that, as can Chris Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Emmanuel Wilson will make the roster, as will Chris Brooks. I think they'll keep 3 running backs.
The truth of the matter is it's a downgrade if Josh Jacobs isn't on the field.
Yep.
And they're going to do their best to keep Josh Jacobs healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes from 300 carries to like 270, just because you want him as good as possible entering the postseason.
Yeah, agreed.
And both of those guys, as much as I'm making fun of Chris Brooks, have proven the ability to, in limited usage, be useful parts of the offense. Yeah. They are not a detriment like A.J. Dillon was towards the end of his career with the Packers.
I wonder if he's... obviously, I don't keep tabs on the Eagles roster. I assume he's going to make the roster out there.
It seemed like it. There's a little uncertainty there.
Because Will Shipley is their other back, right?
Yes, he's the preferred backup. But I don't think, like, say Saquon gets hurt, it's not going to be Will Shipley for 25 carries a game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mixture of their guys back there.
Okay, so A.J. Dillon likely going to make the roster. Well, good for him after missing a season last year. Whatever.
You know what I saw, and this is going way off the beaten path here, but Cam Scatterbo got his first.
For the Giants?
That's A.J. Dillon.
Is that a compliment?
No.
Okay.
No. You know the guys, and Adrian Peterson had this happen late in his career, where their brain wants them to do things their body can't?
Well, I very much know how that feels, yes.
Yeah. So Cam Scatterbo had, and we saw A.J. Dillon do this more times than you can count, make a cut, but then stumble because the body and legs aren't keeping up with the mass required.
Yes.
And that is what I saw early from Mr. Scatterbo.
Interesting. Well, I'm high on Tyrone Tracy, so I'm glad you just told me that. Okay, so let's stay in the NFC East. We talked about the Eagles. We talked about the Giants. Let's go to Dallas, where it's a complete train wreck. And look, I don't want to get it twisted. I do not believe the Packers will successfully pull off a trade for Micah Parsons. It's not going to happen. But I still want to talk about it. Because, number one, would it be a terrific idea for the Packers? Yes, it would be. Would I love to see Ed Policy come in his first year as president and say, hey, championship window's open, let's go capitalize? Yes, I'd love to see it. Will it happen? The answer is no. Less than a 1% chance in my eyes. But seeing Micah Parsons fall asleep on a therapy table.
He was chilling hard.
On the sidelines during the Cowboys' final preseason game. Shows you everything you need to know about that contract negotiation. He's there because he doesn't want to get fined, but he's literally falling asleep on a therapy table.
He's being as insubordinate as possible.
Yes, which is an amazing sight to see. Now, I saw this clip yesterday. It's actually from Thursday or Friday. So Michael Irvin, who's done media since he's retired effectively, has his own podcast on YouTube now. And he posted a 10-second clip to promote the fact that he was having Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner and general manager, on the program last week. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Jerry Jones is the ultimate showman. Okay? He is. You read the quote the other week from him talking about how if he doesn't see the Cowboys in the news cycle, he'll do something to stir it up. He is terrific at that. I also think he's a bad GM. I think those two things are not necessarily mutually exclusive, right? I think you can be a bad GM, but also be one of the best showmen in sports entertainment.
I don't know if a good showman could be a good GM.
Likely not. And obviously, this Micah Parsons situation now looking like it will bleed into the regular season is an amazing thing. And let's remind you, Micah Parsons has formally requested a trade. He has said he's done in Dallas. He does not intend on signing a contract there. Will he? Probably. Ultimately, he probably end up will. But this is what Jerry Jones said to Michael Irvin, and it just made me cackle when I saw this over the weekend. Here's Jerry Jones on Michael Irvin's podcast.
Michael, why don't you grab Micah and come over here with him and come with me and sit down here and bridge this gap?
Is that better than when he told him to shove when he claimed that Micah's agent told him to shove a contract up his behind?
So that's David Mogetta, who's also Jordan Love's agent. It's better. This is the slow-paced Michael.
This gap.
Close this guy up.
First of all, Jerry Jones has now on multiple times admitted to trying to do something that is illegal based on the current CBA and the pretty much all the CBAs that have ever existed in the NFL, and that's negotiate without Micah's agent. There's no reason to do that.
No.
There's no precedent for doing that because it is illegal. And Jerry Jones has now gone to the point of lying about things David Mulugeta has said or not. Because obviously after Jerry said that and it was made its rounds, Mulugeta was asked and he said, of course I didn't say that. And that's not something I typically ever even say. So, I think there's a very real possibility he ends up getting moved. It might carry out into the season. I don't necessarily think that means he's a Packer.
I mean, they are a team that makes a ton of sense.
Yes, they are. They're one of the few. Forgot his name. Ian Rappaport.
There you go.
Put out today that multiple teams have called and expressed interest on both Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons. When teams are calling, they know there's more there than we do.
Yes.
They know that there's significant signs. I mean, Jerry's done it. He said, we're not trading Micah Parsons. We have him for the next 3 years. But if you gave the right package, I would be interested.
I mean, I think, and I know it's a different sport, but I think the Luka Doncic trade is evidence of if you make the right phone call and you say the right things and you offer the right things, anybody's movable. Right? I think in NBA terms, Luka Doncic was viewed as one of the only immovable objects. I think Giannis is in that same category. And then Luka gets traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. I think in terms of the NFL, this would be reminiscent of the Khalil Mack move the Bears made in 2018.
Did you guys hear the hypothetical from Mike Florio about Micah Parsons?
I love a hypothetical.
I also love a hypothetical.
Florio's very good with the hypotheticals. He wrote in Pro Football Talk, for a player in the last year of his contract, his obligation ends with the final game of the regular season, which means that he can walk out at the start of the postseason or at any point during the playoffs with no contractual consequence. So hypothetically, if the Cowboys made the playoffs and Micah Parsons was, due to his contract, played the entire regular season, technically he's not required to play in the playoffs for the Cowboys.
I don't think he would do that because I think that would harm his future earnings.
It sure would.
I think teams would be reticent to pay him.
Micah Parsons isn't playing football without a new deal. I think we can all be pretty clear about that.
And as he shouldn't.
I don't think you're falling asleep on a table on the sidelines during a game, which, how do you do that anyway? It's got to be so loud in there.
Last preseason game, the backups are in. People really aren't even.
But it's still a full
attention.
stadium.
Yeah, I imagine he hasn't been diligent on his preparation.
Sure.
So maybe he was out a little the night before.
Sure.
Got a little sleepy.
Never done that.
Nothing that any three of us can relate to in this room. So yeah, I think there's a very real possibility he gets moved. The one take I have on it though is if the Packers are going to land somebody in a trade, it can't be somebody we know is on the trade block because the Packers are never going to pay the most.
Yeah.
Out of all the teams involved.
Yeah, and it's just what makes me think it absolutely won't happen.
Yes.
Much as every single one of us would advocate for it.
I think the Packers could pull off a Luka Doncic style trade where there was very few calls going around. Nico Harrison wanted it kept under wraps for some reason I haven't been able to really understand yet. And that then resulted in him probably going for under what he should. And I think that's how the Packers would end up in that. I do think there is a point, though, where like teams back out, get cold feet. Imagine negotiating with Jerry Jones.
Micah.
It's just so there's probably a degree of persistence and just saying the right things Jerry wants to hear to make it happen.
Michael.
Would you be shocked if Jerry Jones traded somebody for a package that, like, objectively was less than, say, the Eagles package?
Would I be surprised? No.
Right, because he wouldn't want him to see him in division, and he would probably make, based purely on his ego, which we all know he has the most of, that he would make a decision that was not advantageous to his organization.
Yeah.
Michael.
I love that. He's just so southern and relaxed, but he should be. Michael. All right. That does it for football talk today because I want to get to the Brewers, who obviously, I'm not worried. I want to lead with that. But 2 losses.
Of course, the guy that thought they'd never lose again with 50 games left isn't worried.
I'm not worried. But we got to talk about our guy Trevor Megill. A little bit. Blown save last night as the Giants come from behind and win 4-3 at AmFam Field in the series finale between those two teams on Bob Uecker Day. Obviously, the celebration for Ueck was awesome. Sold out crowd. Will, I know you were there. Looked like just an awesome event.
It was beautiful. There were so many good little details, like how they brought out the Tonight Show desk for Bob Costas to sit in with the panel of people. What Christian Yelich said was very beautiful about using the Bob Uecker bat. I'll just share a little story that he told where he was using the bat with the Bob Uecker for Players Weekend, and he hit a home run in his first at bat. His second at bat was like a little hit off the end that went right over the third baseman's head for a double. And Yelich told the story that his equipment manager turned to him and was like, Bob would have said that little double was better than the home run. So I think it was very powerful and awesome, and it was just an overall good day. I wish they could have pulled out the win.
I haven't had the opportunity to say this yet, but remember we ragged on Mark Atanasio for the Summer of Passion and Entertainment?
Crushed it yesterday.
He's delivered.
Yeah, crushed
the alumni yesterday, all that has been involved with the Brewers this year, not even specifically referring to the incredible season they've had and the product on the field, but they've done a really good job with the giveaways, with the special promotions. That passion and entertainment has come through in a big way.
Big way. Totally agree. And yesterday was just another great example of that. Talking to a bunch of people that were there. So this is a 1:10 start. The game started 24 hours ago right now. It actually was delayed a little bit.
I was going to say, it didn't start on time.
Did not start on time, but it was a 1:10 first pitch. That's what it was scheduled for. The stadium was packed by 12:15, right? Everybody was in their seats an hour early.
I-94 was basically unusable heading into Milwaukee because people at 9:30 were trying to get in to the parking lot,
Yeah.
and were being allowed in because of the early, and people were there early and ready to go.
Which is awesome. Really cool day over at AmFam Field. But as for the baseball, not so cool. Trevor Megill, another blown save. He has not been on his A game the last 2 weeks. I want to react.
This is a guy who is teetering on very nervous.
I'm not nervous. I don't want to react. But
Frequently when I'm not nervous, I say I'm not nervous.
Crazy how fast they switch up.
But can I just float the idea of how good Abner Uribe's been and say maybe we should flip him for a week?
Abner struggled a little bit yesterday too, though.
He got out of there. Did you see
did get out of it.
You see a shimmy when he walked off the field?
Very cool. Yeah. McGregor-esque.
Yes, McGregor-esque indeed.
So I find myself in a rather precarious situation here.
Ooh, I like this.
I-
You agree with me?
No.
Oh.
No. I, as somebody who was talking about regression and got yelled at for regression, we're experiencing that said regression. I think a guy like Trevor Megill will ultimately end up being fine. I think he has the season. There's enough of the season has gone by that clearly the guy is better than he was given credit for, and why he was an option to become
100%.
a member of the Brewers.
Yep, 100%.
But guys like Trevor Megill and guys like some of the hitters in the lineup are going to have fluctuating stretches.
Mhm.
And the 14-game win streak was great.
Sure was.
But what happens and how you go, I don't know, what was it, like 26-4 in a 30-game period, is all those guys are performing probably over their heads. What we're experiencing now is, I think, what was inevitable from watching just how good the Brewers were is some guys are going to have a couple bad weeks.
Hmm?
You're going to see declines. You're going to see them rise back up probably at certain points. So I'm not terribly concerned. I think the bullpen is good enough that they can figure it out, even if McGill's not an option. But I don't think we're even near a point where we have to go, oh crap, we don't have a closer.
No, and I think the point I'm actually making is they have two. At least two guys I would trust in that spot.
Two guys aside from McGill?
No, Megill being
Included.
one. Him and Uribe, and like Shelby Miller is also a guy who's not a stranger to that spot, but he hasn't been great during his...
Brother's been getting shelled.
Yeah, has not been great in his tenure with Milwaukee, but it's another guy who obviously has experience in that spot. So Again, I don't want to say I'm nervous. I'm not nervous. They're still the best team in baseball, still the first team, and the only team with 80 wins on the season.
This guy, first sign of adversity, is ready to fold.
I'm not ready to fold. I just said, I am just pitching the idea that I trust Abner Uribe right now, as it stands right this second, more than Trevor Megill right now. That's just what I'm saying.
A couple blown saves, and we're ready to reinvent the wheel.
Well, like Dr. Denver Dan, who chimes on the ESPN Milwaukee or Madison YouTube chat, excuse me.
How stoned is he?
Denver Dan, that's up to you to answer. Time to try Uribe in that spot. Give Megill a mental break. Even Pat Murphy will admit the Brewers' bullpen has already pitched more innings than in their career. Too bad Craig Yoho can't be trusted. That's the first Craig Yoho pop I've heard in a while.
I mean, he was electric in spring training.
Who was? That's true. Carolina on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat. Saying you're not nervous means you are, Strouf.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
Not nervous. Then she says bullpen is overworked. I don't know if that's true. They haven't played a ton of
believe they
close games recently.
didn't use any high leverage guys on Saturday either.
No.
Since it was more of a blowout.
No.
They used Rodriguez, who they optioned to AAA shortly after the game.
Yeah.
Also, when you're winning as many games as the Brewers did for a stretch there, many of them by scoring football scores, your guys are probably going to lose a little bit, not be in those high leverage situations as much. You're going to have your ups and downs.
Well, here's why I keep saying I'm not nervous. Because I still think the NL Central's done. Well, I'm not nervous. I think the NL Central's a done deal.
You're not 5 games. I don't know.
It's getting a little close. But they've got a good opportunity this week to pick that back up. Cubs schedule's easy, though. I might as well throw that out there. But Brewers are fine. They're going to win the NL Central. I just want to throw out the idea. I love Abner Uribe. I would like to see the McGregor walk in the ninth inning. That's all I'm saying.
We're hardly a week removed from Jen and Chewy going back and forth to see who's going to be more right about how many games the Brewers lost in the month of August. For either of them to be right, the Brewers need to win the next 7.
Dr. Denver Dan chimes back in to answer Josh's question. I stay operationally high, buddy, from 5 to bedtime at night, all day Saturday and Sunday. The dude abides.
Pat on the back to me for recognizing a guy named Dr. Denver Dan is a guy who's operationally stoned at all times.
Operationally stoned.
What a workaround by him, too.
That's good. That's good. Chef Ed says, Strouf, they'll go on another streak soon and the lead will reach double digits. You're cooking with Chef Ed. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that. This is not a
You
fluke.
think they're going to win another double-digit win streak?
No, he was talking about the lead in the NL Central, which is currently 5 games.
Gotcha.
But their schedule is not easy. They get 4 games with Arizona this week at AmFam, but then they go to Toronto, who's very good. Then they host Philadelphia, who's very good. And then you get a break, and September kicks up. Pittsburgh, Texas, St. Louis, the Angels, St. Louis again. And then the Padres and the Reds end the series or end the season a little over a month from right now. So,
You want to know my prediction?
yes.
We're going to be having this conversation again.
The Megill conversation?
No, I'm not nervous, but here's all the reasons why I potentially could be nervous.
No, there's 31 games over 500. They've got a 5-game lead in the NL Central. They get the best record in baseball. Okay, I don't want you to get it twisted because it sounds like you're getting it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Okay? I'm not worried, but I am floating the idea of making a change. That's it.
All I'm going to say is I'm not going to say I was right. But when I was talking about all this and the highs that we were experiencing, I feel like maybe I was trying to prepare you for what you're experiencing now.
Losing 6 of the last 9?
Yes.
Okay.
And the fluctuations of a baseball season and how we can overreact. Now, I don't think the Brewers are going to overreact. I think if they think that's the right move to give Megill an extra day or just flip them in terms of, but I don't know if you want your closer then pitching in the 8th inning. That brings up you would kind of just have to put him on the shelf. I don't know if they're going to have that luxury based on how their starters, how long they end up going, all that. I mean, you just have to, it's based on who gets the most work and who's available. Mm-hmm. But this is a baseball season.
It's a baseball season. No doubt about that.
And I know it felt like an impossibility to lose 6 of your last 9, but even the best teams in baseball do that.
That's true. Yeah, that's baseball. We heard from Christian Yelich last week. He had that amazing quote.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's good, too. Like Pat Murphy says all the time, he wants them to be battle-tested. And especially games when you're ahead of the playoffs, when you're getting into those high-leverage situations, like you're just going to be more and more prepared for when that time actually comes. So the more reps you can get in the regular season with those high-leverage situations is the better.
Will's spitting facts right now, and I want to acknowledge that before I pivot into something completely different. Josh just pointed at the television, and there's tennis on. What?
Yannick Sinner, world number 1.
Yeah, and I proved you got... Apologize.
I found a bunch of updated rankings with Alcaraz as one, so I'm not going to apologize.
The ATP rankings, he is number 1. I'm a tennis ball
knower. What is the ATP now?
Tennis guy.
What does ATP stand for?
Ooh, good question. Does anybody here know the answer before we answer? Will, you don't know? Well, you just looked it up, huh?
Association of Tennis Professionals?
That was going to be my guess.
Sure it was.
I was going to, I guess I didn't know the A, but tennis professionals or tennis professional was going to be the TP. So, all right, we got there. All right, time now for What We Missed, What We Learned. It is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Wherever you're at, elevate your tailgate, your party. Your Labor Day weekend, if you're hitting the boat, brandies, whiskeys, rums, gins, vodkas, and more made locally in Door County. It's affordable, it's award-winning, and again, I say it is local. So support local. Let's go, baby. Get it in Madison. Get it in Milwaukee. Get it in Green Bay, wherever you're at. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you with their awesome search tool. You click the drop-down box, click the product you're looking for, type in your zip code, boom, bang, shebang. You've got the retailer nearest you. That's doorcountydistillery.com. calm. Okay, a couple things I want to get to here. Number one, did everybody see this Rampage Jackson, Raja Jackson situation that unfolded on Saturday night?
Yes.
So Raja Jackson is the son of former MMA fighter, former UFC fighter Rampage Jackson. Raja Jackson is...
Both of which are now Kick streamers?
Yes, which I don't know what Kick is. I found that out this weekend. You pretty much, it's like you just stream your life 24/7.
Well, no, it's supposed to be a competitor to Twitch, which is mainly video gaming, but the current meta is IRL streaming. So people are definitely still
IRL
streaming.
being in real life.
Yes, you just stream your life.
Okay.
Both him and his son do the same thing. There's a lot of very famous people who do similar. A lot of times they end up just like watching videos or just being obnoxious people in public. And that is, for whatever reason, extremely popular. Kick is the place which was created in reaction when they stopped allowing gambling. And they said, hey, why don't... Yes, Twitch has decided this is a bad influence for kids, but what if we started our own place and let everybody gamble and give them less rules? So there was recently a Kick streamer who, and I believe this is correct, a French Kick streamer who ended up killing somebody on stream.
Oh, my.
Through hours and hours of abuse of and sleep deprivation. So that's the platform.
Oh, wow.
That those guys are on.
Okay. I don't know if that's good context or not, but it's
a context to why you would see what you saw.
So Raja Jackson, long story short, went to a professional wrestling show, and as all of you know, I am a professional wrestling fan. Now, this is not a WWE promotion, so I didn't know who any of these guys were. But Psycho Sid is a wrestler with a beard, and he was under the impression that Raja Jackson was there to work. And the term work in wrestling means if I punch you, that's allowed, right? We are working. But he hit him with a beer can, a professional wrestling beer can, so not a real one.
I was to say, it was a stunt beer can.
Correct.
Yes.
And he hit him over the head with it. And Raja Jackson didn't sell it. And what sell means in wrestling is you react to being hit, right? So if there's great compilations of the Stone Cold Stunner and people flying because
The Rock doing backflips.
Yes, they're selling the move. Raja Jackson did not sell it, and he got very clearly angry. And this was about 2 hours before what happened. Yada, yada, yada. They make up allegedly. And then Raja Jackson is going to intervene and interject himself into Psycho Sid's match.
I think it's important to say they did make up. The guy apologized. He said, I thought I saw a camera. I thought we were working here. And they shook hands.
Yep.
So they were, it wasn't, hey, they had this misunderstanding and then they went and wrestled. It was hours apart. They apologized multiple times, shook hands.
And then he hit him with 22 haymakers in the middle of the ring, knocked him unconscious, real punches. He beat the hell out of him. And he hasn't been arrested yet. So there you go. That's the story.
Yeah.
Very strange. Never seen anything like it. So.
Yeah, just if you see your kids watching Kick, make them turn it off.
Yeah, that would be good advice to learn from this. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because I don't want to say I didn't realize this because I did know this, but it seems long overdue. Next year, not this season, but next year, the MLB will implement Reliever of the Year awards in both the AL and the NL.
So there is one, but it's closer.
Right,
but
not reliever.
I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong here, Will, as you look this up, the Rolaids, closer of the year or something?
Is that
or reliever of the year?
That's a brand, right? Isn't that
Rolaids
antacid?
Is I believe another Tums.
Yeah, an antacid.
Yeah.
Okay. But never a reliever of the year, which I mean I knew, but I guess I didn't fully realize because you're right. There was a closer of the year, and obviously there's the Cy Young, but never reliever of the year. So it seems like this is long overdue because a reliever's not going to win the Cy Young. And just to put a bow on our entire show, Abner Uribe snubbed this year. Okay. Rolaids?
Fast-acting heartburn relief.
I was asking about the award.
What was it named the Rolaids Award? But I think Will just took that as
okay.
I thought that's what I meant.
Rolaids Relief Man Award. an annual MLB award given from 1976 to 2012.
Oh, hasn't given out. They haven't given out in 13 years.
They moonlighted it on us. Didn't even know.
I believe you were looking for sunset at it.
Yep.
Moonlighting it would be.
Yeah.
They still give it out. Yeah.
Not the last one, but the second last person to win the award.
John Axford.
Yes.
Who was honored this weekend
In 2011, John Axford.
The Axeman. He is very profound. I saw a bunch of interviews of him this weekend. I didn't realize what a smart man he was.
Yeah, I mean, pitchers are interesting people. Some are a little nuts, like the guy slapping himself in the face to the Stone Cold entrance.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Weird that guy has a 5.4 ERA and does all of that.
Correct.
Got to be better if you're slapping yourself.
Yeah,
in the face.
I mean, it's getting jacked up, Josh.
Just trying to wake up. Get that ERA under 5.
But I think bullpen, especially, and relievers lend themselves to characters. Some of them more intelligent than others, but they're all a little quirky. And I think sitting out in the outfield for days and days and days on end with a bunch of dudes and having to get jacked up to go into a game where everybody else has been playing for the previous 7-8 innings, you gotta be a little different.
That's true. I won't argue with that.
The Abner thing's interesting, though, because he has 35 holds this year. The next closest is 29.
Wow.
So he has 6 more than the next closest.
Let's get him a few more saves while we're at it.
Good.
Just throwing that out there. All right, Will, any words today?
I just confirmed that releasable is a word.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I don't know if we have time for it, but Avery Johnson, the quarterback for Kansas State, his father and his brother got into a wrestling match after Kansas State lost to Iowa State in the Aer Lingus Bowl in Dublin, Ireland. I don't know if you guys saw this.
I
Just
didn't.
in a puddle outside of the stadium, like full headlocks, multiple people involved trying to separate them.
Oh, they were actually fighting.
Yeah, father and son fighting each other. So I don't know what prompted this, but I thought it was, because at first when I read it, I was like, oh, it was the dad and the brother fighting together against somebody else, but they were just wrestling each other on the ground.
And they weren't just doing it for fun?
No. I mean, it was right after a loss. It was
Wow.
kind of a devastating loss, too. It was a close game.
It was a close game.
I'm stuck here on the relievers roll aids page. This is an all-time guys name and dudes list.
Hit me with a few before we get out of here.
Jose Valverde,
Okay, good.
Rafael Soriano,
Sure.
JJ Putz, Keith Fulke, Billy Koch, Todd Jones, Randy Myers, another name here, Heath Bell,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Brad Lidge,
Yeah.
Valverde, both in the AL and NL.
Got to be the only guy.
Trevor Hoffman,
Yeah, shout out.
Chad Cordero, Eric Gagne, John Smoltz. I forgot about John Smoltz's time in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Armando Benitez.
Oh, good name.
Yeah.
Good name.
These are guys
Guys naming dudes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite activities. All right, that will do
Antonio
it for us.
Alfonseca.
Okay, that's going to do it for us today.
Seca.
When we are back for episode 291 on Wednesday, we will be celebrating the birth of one Josh DiMaggio, which we did this weekend. We also missed talking about that.
Yeah, I thought we would lead with it. I don't know if there's much more to say other than Will was the MVP.
Will was the MVP. He had a good night.
Put on a show.
I got there late because I had
Got
a
a
wedding.
smooch on the cheek at one point.
He did?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. That's not abnormal
Stud.
for him. Yeah, he is a stud. He did a good job on Saturday night.
He did a cartwheel as well.
He did a cartwheel?
Tried to.
No, he did one. He succeeded.
I was tested.
Yeah,
I was doubted.
but it was good to celebrate Joshy and
I don't think the doubt was misplaced on your cartwheel.
But I wasn't. Yeah, but I wasn't. I still had to do it, right? Like I couldn't not do the
correct.
cartwheel.
Yeah, if you talk yourself into doing a cartwheel, you got to do the cartwheel. It's as simple as that. Which is why I would never talk myself into doing a cartwheel. But
You talk yourself into other stuff. Cartwheels, no.
No, that's off limits. I would hurt myself and maybe other people. So anyway, all right, we're back Wednesday for Joshy's birthday. We'll get a Will's weekend review. We'll play a little one word. We'll do all that fun stuff, and we'll also know who made the Packers 53-man roster come Wednesday. We will talk to you then. Enjoy it. Enjoy what? Enjoy the next couple of days. That's what you should enjoy. Talk to you Wednesday beginning at 12:30 Central. Bye.